Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's version of Financial Services Tech Oracles. I'm your host, Jerry Murphy from Nemertes. With me today, we have a special guest. We have Randall Brett. He works in IT at a large buy-side asset manager. So here's a guy who works with lots of money trading hands and lots of what I will call surreptitious ways. Randall, thanks a lot for coming on. And one of the things that we wanted to talk about was the use of AI, large language models in financial services. Now, you're at a cutting edge financial services company. So my first question, Randall, is really, are you seeing what is the appetite for using artificial intelligence? Is this something where people like, I'm rapidly embracing it versus wait, we got to wait until this has more proven before we're actually going to use it for anything?
Yeah, no, thanks. And thanks for having me. I think the answer is we do see appetite. I think mainly in the larger firms, they've got a little bit more, sort of IT horsepower to kind of help wrangle it and ability to think about it. But we for sure, in our peer organizations, the different hedge funds that we talk to, everybody has moved pretty quickly. What I'll call the low-hanging fruit. Summarizing emails, the productivity stuff. And even taking that up a tick into things like, the ability to summarize, a fire hose of 30, sell-side, broker research emails and extract what's the consensus view, what's the contrarian view, and did anybody have any unique view and highlight those kinds of things. So I call that kind of the low-hanging fruit. Definitely, many folks are moving more aggressively even than that, and happy to talk about that, whatever. Everything makes sense.
Yeah, and I would imagine, especially private fund managers, when they're handling both customer protected information as well as using algorithms that I would assume are proprietary. I mean, you're going to be doing something that hopefully is differentiating you from a competitor. So I would imagine that this stuff you're going to have to buy your own engines to train your own stuff. I don't imagine you're going out there on the public and doing this, or even doing this on Amazon or anything. This has got to be stuff that you're all doing yourself. Have you found it tough to actually acquire the equipment to do this kind of thing, or are you able? Is it a bounded enough problem in your environment that you can find what you need to do this kind of training for these models?
It's actually was shockingly easier than we thought it was going to be. Yes, you will need some IT support. You can't do it without it. That's why I'm saying so many of the larger firms, as opposed to the smaller firms, there are 10,000 hedge funds, and a lot of those are three guys in a Bloomberg terminal.
Yeah.
But past a certain point, you've got to, you can throw a little bit of engineering at it. Bringing the models in house is very tractable, and we're having success. We know our peer firms are having a lot of success, and and what we've found, and Jerry, I think we talked about this earlier. What's interesting is not necessarily pushing all your data to the model and trying to train it yourself, but basically taking the model to the data. Bring the model to your APIs, mapping asking interesting questions, and mapping those questions to your internal APIs, which, by the way, don't hallucinate, right? I don't need the LLM to know how to do linear algebra. I just need to know how to pass parameters to something that does know how to do linear algebra. And that seems to work. It seems to be working pretty well. I think a lot of folks are kind of coalescing around that as the model.
I would think there would be a lot of fear. I would think there'd be a lot of fear by money managers of it's great that I might create some novel advice. I've got some advice that's contrary to the market that might do something insight, but of course, making up something that makes economic nonsense is something somebody might fear. But it seems to me that if you're training your own models and you're bounding the search space, it seems like that might be a less likely occurrence than you might think if you're just looking at things in the public domain.
Sure. Yeah, and I don't think anybody that we know who's credible and and takes their as a fiduciary to their investors, is connecting this to to live trading. What they're doing is asking interesting questions, seeing if we can get interesting answers. Again, I don't expect any truly novel novel answers anytime soon. And, it's not like chess, which is very bounded, where it turns out that moving your queen out a little bit earlier, maybe coming down the side with your rooks, turns out to be better than we thought it was. That's novel thinking. We don't see anything like that, or we don't expect anything like that soon. Mostly what we expect, though, is to dramatically increase our productivity. So instead of asking an analyst, for something that's going to take them hours or days, or we can get that back in minutes, right? And done competently and done with confidence, right? Again, by calling your APIs, you're not worried about the hallucinations, because the calculations are actually done, by your own systems.
And the other thing, we talked about this a little bit earlier too, is I see AI actually doing where it's not necessarily going to find the sliver of gold in your haystack. It can actually remove the hay. So if you think about these complicated environments, I think, and you think about how you do, clique partitioning algorithms and pruning of branches, I think AI can actually help you predictively not waste your time searching branches that it can sort of tell with bounded analysis that are going to be a waste of time to search, so it can probably help you minimize the space in which your analysts really need to do the analyzing that they're doing.
Yeah, you think about it, a portfolio manager or trader has got a tsunami of information coming in. They've got 8 giant screens, and they're Bloomberg ticking, and the news is ticking. And how do we talk a lot about and think about signal to noise management? How do we stay focused on the right signal in the right way? And if the AI can throw away a lot of the noise, and maybe help sharpen our focus, maybe there was that little news story about a typhoon beginning to brew in the Pacific. Philippines, oil, bananas, tea, whatever. Right. And maybe I would have missed that, right? Maybe because I was too busy trying to sift through, the tsunami of crap. So I think that will be very helpful. It's not going to. That's not a novel idea that the typhoon in the Pacific is going to, maybe affect production in the Philippines, but maybe it'll get it into my field of vision more quickly and more accurately.
Right. The last thing I would ask, I guess, 2-part question. One is, what are you excited is seeing the next thing that you think you're going to be able to use AI for, and what do you think is still, it's still too far for even what AI is doing today to handle for the next 5 years?
Yeah, I think what we're super excited about we think what we've been describing as tractable. Taking a complex question and mapping it to our APIs and getting that back. That we think that's tractable, and I think other people think it's tractable, and we see that being a real world thing, in months, not years. What we don't know is, that general intelligence, right? That novel insight. They know you shouldn't be trading stocks. You should be buying crypto, or or something, something that either nobody ever thought of, or
one of them Pokemon cards. We really think they're going to suddenly rocket in value.
Right.
Short Tesla, buy Pokemon.
Short Tesla and buy Pokemon. There you go. I am not a registered investment advisor, so do not short Tesla and buy Pokemon. Do not do anything that I say.
Wouldn't that be a hoot if that happens in a week? Pokemon, right? Crazy.
Yeah. You don't know what I'm really doing here, right?
Hey, Randall, I really appreciate your time and insights in using AI in financial services.
Sure.
And thank you all for watching. This has been another episode of FinServ Tech Oracles. We hope to catch you on our next podcast. Thanks, and have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, too.